good morning to everyone here, and good morning or good afternoon or good evening to all of those joining us on the YouTube later on. And welcome all to this sixth of our 7 sessions on the Chenrezik practice. And apologies already, I'm behind schedule, and today we're going to be busy, which is a polite word for rushed, but never mind. So anyway, let's get on with it and start with a very, very excellent motivation, a loving mind for all sentient beings, a big, big mind, including everyone, and as you know, especially those connected with us through karma, and a joyful mind, because we have karma, a dharma, and dharma's forever, and all the rest isn't. All the rest comes and goes. Dharma's your very, very best friend. So with that, let's do our starting prayers quickly, because we'll do the Chenrezik practice together, and a lot of our starting prayers are repeated in there. Sonje chodon soje chonamla jancho bado dane chapsunche dagi jenso jipe sonamje drola penchera sonje droparasho semchen tamche dewa dang dewe chodang dem parajuche dongal dang dokmal ji chodang tralwara juche Dongal me pin dewa tampa dang min tralwara juche Yerin chatan ne tang tralwe tang yom champola ne paran jurche. Deyata shamme shamawati shameta shadru Om kure marajite karota ke ore te jowati oloyane bishuddha nimale malapa naye kukure kaka grasana Om mukhe paramukhe amukhe shamme dhawane savagraha bandhanane nigrihitva Savabhara pravadina vimukta mara pasha savitva Buddha mudra nugatita savamare butsarita Parishuddhe bigashantu sava marakama Alden sawe lama rinpoche dagi chewara pende denshula kadrin chempo gune chesonte kuson tuche madrup sadhu sol. Thank you very much. I am counting a lot in this course on homework. And so I hope you are doing the homework, because the idea of this course is that we learn, And the only way to learn a practice is by practicing. So in the introduction, normally when we learn a practice, the best way is in retreat with a teacher, or even if it's a short retreat where you go to a Dharma center for a weekend or a week. And there we share the practice together with enough time so that there is really transmission, in as much as you start the retreat and you don't know, and you leave the retreat and you're launched. You know enough to do the practice. And of course, as I've said many times, the whole idea, this is a practice for life, and it is a path. I'm not teaching you how to join in with the Chenrezik practice in the Dharma center. But lots of people can help you with that. I'm teaching you how Chenrezik can be all you'd ever need for the rest of your life. It's the most wonderful practice there ever was, and Chenrezik is unique among all the Vajrayana practices. It has zero risk. Zero risk. Vajrayana practice is powerful. It's like most powerful things. You have to follow the rules. Otherwise, you're screwed. Otherwise, you're not in a good place. It's dangerous. If you do something like going up a mountain or in an aeroplane, a long-haul flight to the other side of the world, especially if you're in tourist class, you're aching all over. You've done the most amazing yoga postures all the way through the night, and you're fed up. All you want is a bit of fresh air and a walk, but you can't just go and open the door and go outside. You've got to follow the rules. It's dangerous. We learn that. Electricity is dangerous. I remember when I was a kid, I thought, there's electricity in the sockets, and there's electricity in batteries, the old-fashioned big fat batteries. So I connected the battery with 2 wires to an electric socket to charge it up. I was lucky. Powerful things bring a lot, but they come with a risk. To avoid danger, with Vajrayana practice, we take Samaya vows. That way we stay in a safe place. But we need to understand how vital those are. It's not just playing around, and it's not just yeah. If you do it, then you have to do it. Otherwise, you're better off not starting. So with most Vajrayana practice, depending on the intensity and what the practice is addressing, and how you go from outer practice to inner practice to secret practice to most secret practice, there are many dangers of all sorts. So Chenrezik has no danger. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. We can't go into an explanation of that. I already am short of time today. But anyway, please do practice and understand that it's for your benefit. I don't get points if you practice. It's not going to help me go to Dewa Chen. If you practice, it's going to help bring your own compassion, your own liberation to life. So anyway, that's my preach. Now, let's start quickly by doing the practice together to get to the point where we got last time, which was the Jowo prayer, where we really try our very best to open up to devotion. So let's sit nicely. And then first thing, we feel as very, very, very best we can that we are not alone. On the contrary, we are connected to each and every sentient being, each and every one, but in particular to our own parents and siblings and children and those who are strongly connected by karma to us. We're doing the practice for everyone because we are the fortunate ones who know how to do it. And through the power of interdependence, of connection, then we are thinking, we are benefiting very much those connected closely to us, and as much as possible to those less connected. But anyway, we're all connected. The bigger our view gets through time and space, we're all connected. So anyway, this is very important. So please feel that now. And then as we go through the practice, feel that what is happening for you is happening simultaneously for all of those who are connected. And then in front of us and all around us, the space becomes the practice space of pure mind, pure appearances, some people call it, pure manifestation. And so it is a place of total goodness. And in front of us appears our guru. If you don't have a guru yet, but you're connected with this Karmakaya tradition, then the Karmapa, or your own guru. Your own guru carries the blessing of the compassion of all the enlightened ones, all the Buddhas. And your guru, and so therefore all the Buddhas, manifest their compassion, which is infinite, unconditioned, which takes so many millions of forms to help beings. They manifest that as the wonderful presence of Chenrezik. So in front of us is that compassion, which means that you feel in the presence of the love of the greatest beings in all existence. Can you imagine? Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to imagine how much they love and care for each and every one of us. We're in that presence, pure, limitless, unconditional, sacred love in the form of Chenrezik. And if you prefer, Chenrezik surrounded by an ocean of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So then now we take refuge and bodhicitta together. We've trained now for a few weeks of doing one and the other, taking time. Now we will take refuge, place our trust, seek guidance, seek inspiration, seek protection, support in Chenrezik as the embodiment of all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, the three jewels, and the three roots. And then having done that, we make the sacred, timeless commitment to reach enlightenment, to free our mind, to take our mind to its innate purity and perfection, to help all beings. Sonje chodan soje chonam la chancho pato dane chap sonje dagi gomde jipe sanam ji drola penchera Sanje Rol Paransho. Sanje Chodan Soje Chonam La Chancho Bando Dane Chap Sunje Dagi Gomde Jipe Sanam Ji Drola Benchera Sanje Drola Sanje Chodan Soje Chonam La Chancho Bado Dane Chap Sonche Dagi Gomde Jipe Sanam Ji Drola Penchera Sanje Drola Paransho. And then Chenrezik in front of us, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, send endless rays of light which dissolve into ourselves and all beings around us, giving refuge, protection, safety, guidance, and giving us the Bodhisattva's sacred commitment. And then Chenrezik dissolves into light, and that light dissolves into us all, and we sit for a moment. Then we let our awareness be with our body. And we let that being present with our body and its sensations, we let that awareness gradually rise up to the space above our head, where we'll do the next step of visualization. So I've put the text on the screen. Let's say the words first, and then I'll talk you through it. Daso ka chab sam chen ji chit soi pe karam da weten rile pai cho Chenrezik ka sa wu zen a ten tro Zezon toi je chen je ze chag shi dam po da jaran ze wo nie sha tran pe karanam da da ren chen jen je tre re da pa pe to yo so O pa me pe o jen chen Shapne doi je chel chon shu Dreame da waren jap ten pa Chapne kondo moren jura. So above our heads, first is a white lotus of light. In our mind's eye, it looks like a perfect 8-petaled lotus, and it feels like our mind's transcendent purity. Transcendent, it was always pure. Our mind has always been pure. This is it. What's down here is us. What's up there always was. Perfect. On top of that is a white moon disk. In our mind's eye, it looks like a perfect white flat disk of light. It feels like wisdom because our mind's innate purity, which was always there, is not only pure and good, but wise, beyond what we can imagine as wise. It knows everything, everyone, throughout time. And then standing upright on the moon disk is the white syllable tree. And we hold our attention one-pointedly on it in all of its detail. And through our one-pointed awareness, it shines more and more brightly. And as it shines, its light radiates, first of all, to all of those who've gone before, practicing Chenrezik, and become true bodhisattvas, who've become Buddhas, those who right now are bodhisattvas and Buddhas, and those in the future who are bodhisattvas and Buddhas, all with an innate realization of what Chenrezik is, and skill and experience, maturity in this practice. The light goes to them with deep respect and making offerings of all sorts: water to wash their feet, water to drink, flowers, incense, things beautiful to see, to smell, things wonderful to all the senses, and food and music. Whatever we know as wonderful in this world, we offer it thinking, I would let go of this in 1 second to have the true experience of Chenrezik's perfect compassion. At the same time, our one-pointed concentration on the Shri radiates light to all the 6 realms of beings in their suffering, in their ignorance, and helps them however best they can be helped. And again, our mind goes to praise and respect for the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, offerings to them, a deep wish to connect with what they have. And it goes to the endless sufferings, the valleys of tears of samsara, to help beings. And through this, the light returns from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas with their blessing, and we need to relax and be open to go beyond our mind's creations into a state of openness and acceptance of what they all have to give us. And the light returns from the 6 realms, connecting us to sentient beings and feeling their gratitude for caring for them. And this light returning from all of existence and what is beyond existence all comes back to the Shri, which instantly becomes Chenrezik, so now above us. Immense, so kind, so beautiful, we barely dare look with our mind at the perfection and the wonder. But there is Chenrezik, the heart essence of our Guru. Chenrezik has one face, looking with ultimate kindness on each and every being. Chenrezik's head is crowned with 5 Dhyani Buddhas, and on the summit of Chenrezik's head, the head of the Padma family is Buddha Amitabha, either hidden in Chenrezik's top knot or directly above him. Chenrezik has 4 arms, the 4 limitless contemplations, the upper 2 holding a crystal mala and a lotus flower, the lower 2 holding the wishing gem of Mahamudra to the heart. Chenrezik wears all the silks and the jewels of a Sambhogakaya Buddha. Chenrezik's legs are in the Vajra posture, and as we think of them, we feel the Buddha's meditation, the total stillness, stability, reliability, perfect shunyata. Chenrezik is surrounded by a brilliant halo of light. His whole body is of light and is hollow, And in the three sacred places, the forehead, the throat, and the heart center, are the three syllables, Om, Ah, and Hum. Over Chenrezik's left shoulder is deerskin, representing many things, but the gentleness of meditation, the way of non-harm and peace. And then we move on to the next section, which we did last time, which is through thinking again and again, being in clarity, purity, and certainty. Clarity, we keep the image pure in our mind. Purity, we tune into the meaning of everything, like Chenrezik's hair, half tied up, half down, representing Dharmakaya and the two form kayas manifesting. We think again and again, and through that, our heart opens in devotion. And we feel with tears in our eyes and our hair standing on end, all I want to do in this life, with this life, is to become this. Not just an image, but what the image really conveys. The pure love and wisdom, which is the heart nature of ourselves and of everything. So then we do the prayer of devotion. We don't have time to do it 108 times. We'll just do it a few times. Jowo, no, and we'll do it because we can't do it together. The audio doesn't work that way. It's a mess when we do audio together on Zoom. So I want to use a tune. I don't have time to tell you the story, but it's a bit special. Jowo janji maga kondo kara zoksanje ji ulangen tukje chanji rolazik Chenrezik na chan Jowo janji maga kondo kara soksanje ji ulangen tuje chanji drolazik Chenrezik na Jowo janji maga kondo kara zoksanje ji ulangen tuje chanji rolazik Chenrezik na chan. When we're training, we learn to do this until really something shifts. It's the whole point. It's the whole point. Something shifts. We become devoted in the real sense, true sense, humble, full of respect, longing more than we've longed for anything, for our mind and heart to become love and compassion, nothing but love and compassion, for all of this confusion and resentment and jealousy and all the things that make for a samsaric, busy, confused mind. We are so fed up with it. And we realize that what we truly are is this love of Chenrezik, And we just long and long and long for the breakthrough. So when the breakthrough happens, the next point of the practice is that through our devotion, Chenrezik above us explodes into light and everything changes forever. Everything becomes the pure land of Sukhavati, Devochen. All beings become Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. We're in a pure place, and our own form becomes exactly like Chenrezik above us, and we feel made of light, hollow, with the 3 syllables and the 4 arms and the loving face and everything that Chenrezik is. So then we express that. De tara se che sol tape akpe kule was a true madalen on crushi jong jinan de wa chenji shing Ang chu jindro lung asem Chenrezik ku sun tuk nan drarik tong yerme jura. So now today we come to the next step, which is the mantra recitation. So what just happened is you became Chenrezik, everyone around you became Chenrezik, everything became pure. And we'll stay in that place. But our attention will mainly go now up above our head, where there's the Guru. Now it's wonderful. Guru's Chenrezik, you're Chenrezik. There's a real connection. You are who you really are. He is who he really is, or she is who she really is. You're communicating on that level. You're not a disciple coming to a teacher, all that outer stuff. The beauty, the love, Chenrezik inside you is now directly communicating with Chenrezik above you. So we are focusing now on Chenrezik above us. And you'll find in your notes that you got with this course that while we are doing the mantra, which is the next step, Om Mani Padme Hum, or Om Mani Padme Hum Hare, then we can do 10 things. Very nice. It's a really, really friendly practice. You don't get bored. If you've done enough of number 1, you can do a bit of number 3, or a bit of number 5. Your mind can be happy and you can take pleasure in, okay, let's go to this one, this aspect. Yeah, it could do with a bit of polishing up. So let's spend some time there, making it better. And then next year it will be even better and even better. 10 things, all of them helpful. The first one is that we keep our mind with the form of Chenrezik above us. Now I'm going to answer a question no one's asked yet. Okay, you've already made Chenrezik above you, and you know, the real presence, the blessing of all the other Buddhas and Bodhisattvas has come. So in Chenrezik's, Chenrezik is hollow inside, a form of light, like a tent, like a bubble. So there's Om in the central channel where the forehead level, and Ah in the throat chakra and throat level, and Hum in the heart level. Now, if you've read the notes or you've done the practice before, you know what we're coming to, step 3 of the 10. is going to be something in Chenrezik's heart center. Oh, it's going to collide with the hung. There's already a hung in Chenrezik's heart center, and we're going to make a complicated visualization in there. So first things first, our first step is to keep our mind with Chenrezik, a hollow form with Om, Ah, Hung in the three sacred places. The Hung in the heart center of Chenrezik is going to move backwards a little bit to make space for what's to come. Still just as present, it still is the feeling of the mind blessing of all the Buddhas, but it will move backwards. So as we do Om Mani Padme Hum, we are going to be visiting and improving each part of the visualization, spending quality time. Artists. So Chenrezik's eyes or ears, or the 5 dhyani Buddha crown, or Amitabha above Chenrezik's head, the various forms of jewelry, the legs, the way the hands are, the lotus, all of this, as we do Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, then we are going to be visiting one part and holding our mind one pointedly, but also making it clearer. How is this made? If Chenrezik is wearing cloths, how can we make this? How can we adorn it? Whatever the finest cloth you've seen, it feels even better in your mind. It looks even better. You can make the most wonderful, magical, changing diagrams. This is material made by the Devas. As we visit each place of Chenrezik and make it better, that's the clarity, we improve the purity. What is the feeling of this? What is the feeling of the perfect crowning of the 5 Buddha families? We studied the 5 Buddha families a few weeks ago. What does it mean to have these as your perfect mandala of all the gurus on your head? What does it feel like? The blessing of those Buddhas and their 5 wisdoms and their qualities. We need to purity, feel the real meaning of what's there. It's not just an image, it's a presence of something so sacred. Chenrezik's 4 arms, the 4 limitless contemplations. When you do the practice of infinite love, infinite compassion, infinite joy, what do they feel like? This is what the arms feel like, and those 4 in perfect balance. However deeply you've meditated, and now you can imagine how deep your guru or the Buddha's meditation is. What do those legs that you are visualizing feel like? So I can't go through all of that again. We did it last time. But this is what we do as we do Om Mani Padme Hum, first thing. So let's do that together now. Om Mani Padme Hum. Now you can say it in 3 ways. You can say it out loud, which is very nice, especially if you're in a Dharma center and people have voices. When we do Om Mani Padme Hum together, then you can sing harmonies. It says it should sound like an intense buzzing of bees. So we can do it out loud. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme, like Lama Lamcho used to do with his prayer wheel. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme, Om Mani Padme, Om Mani Padme. Or the first Kala Rinpoche. Freezing cold when I drove him from Glasgow airport to Samiling in the winter. He wanted the windows completely wound down because he could see the sleeping sheep in the headlight as we drove cross country. He wanted all of them to hear Om Mani Padme Hum. So we did the whole journey from wherever it was, Prestwick, I think, to Samiling with him and his voice. You know, it's a wonder he didn't get hoarse because he was really shouting. He wanted as many to hear. So, Om Mani Padme, Om Mani Padme, with a very weak voice. Om Mani Padme, Om Mani Padme. It's beautiful. bloody cold. But anyway, so we can do it out loud. We can do it, it says, so only your shirt collar can hear. If somebody was next to you, they'd need to lean over to hear what you're saying. Or we can say it, but with no sound, where your whole heart and mind is on but nobody hears a word. Okay. We've got 10 to do this morning, so it's a bit quick. Now, yeah, I do want to tell you just briefly why I use that tune for the Jowo Junji. I sent out to you these 2 extra prayers you can do at the Jowo Junji time. The whole point is you do whatever you can do that awakens your devotion. I used to travel a lot with Akon Rinpoche, and we'd take food together, sometimes with other people, sometimes not. But he would do an offering prayer for his food. And so very often he would lead the prayer, but if it was me or Kanung Tutum with him, sometimes he'd ask us to do the food prayers. And I'd been on a visit to Africa shortly before, and I'd found a nice way of doing food offering prayers, but using the tune from the Chut practice, one of the tunes from the Chut practice. So one day in a center, Rinpoche asked me to do the food offering prayer, and I decided I'd do what I've been doing with the Chut practice, tune. And at first, when I started off with that, he looked a bit, what? Like, this is the wrong tune, or that's Chut. It's kind of, and so I carried on. But then next time he came to asking me, he said, do use that tune again, and he liked it. And so as we traveled round quite often in centers, when it was my turn to do the food offering prayer, I'd use the tune, and it helps me if I do it for Jowo Junji, because the food offering was Jowo Junji like we just did, but with offering words at the end rather than Chatsalo, which is prostrate. It was Chopabul, which means we offer to Chenrezik. So I have many wonderful memories of moments with Akon Rinpoche. And so for me, it opens the door of devotion. And so I like to do it like that. When you're on your own, you can use whatever tune you can make up that helps you. So now the second thing we can do, I need now to share the video again with you. Let me find it here. So you remember last week when we watched the video, we got to the point of Chenrezik above our heads, and then we pray with devotion and Chenrezik dissolves into us. Can you put a hand up if you can see the picture? Thank you. Okay, so here we go. So then the meditator, through devotion, becomes Chenrezik. And then there's you and your guru, identical in form, identical in feeling, but nevertheless the guru's a bigger Chenrezik than you are, and above your head. So then in this next step, number 2, let's stop there for a moment. Now Chenrezik above us, who's like a hollow tent, and where the hung syllable at the heart center has moved back a little bit, we're going to zoom into the heart center of Chenrezik, and there we're going to visualize again what we visualized earlier in a different stage of the practice, where in Chenrezik's heart center is a lotus and a moon disk and the syllable Shri. And as this is happening in Chenrezik above us, it's happening in us and in all sentient beings around us. So now we're in Chenrezik's heart center above us, and there is a lotus flower with 6 petals, the moon disk, and the syllable Shri. Just need to go back a step or two. There, not there. There. So in the second step, now, although we feel Chenrezik above us, in all the perfection of form, which is like a hollow outer tent, we have zoomed in, and our one-pointed shamatha is with Chenrezik's heart center, with the moon disk, the lotus, the moon disk, and the Shri. And that seed syllable Shri, like it did earlier, is both radiating respect and offerings and praise to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So now we're tuning into our gurus, respect and homage, appreciation, devotion to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. This is what it feels like. This is why it's a learning process. We have some devotion, some respect. Our Guru Chenrezik above us has perfect devotion and respect. And at the same time, Shri radiates light to all sentient beings. So the light from the white Shri is white light. So now through our one-pointed concentration, the Shri in Guru Chenrezik's heart center is radiating everywhere. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Om In the third stage, we develop the syllables of the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum on the 6 petals of the lotus around the tree. So watch attentively the next few seconds of the video. Om Mani Padme Hum appears. So this is in Chenrezik's heart center. Above us, in Chenrezik's heart center, the Hri faces forward. So if you're in a mental helicopter up there, and you're flying around Chenrezik, and you're in front of Chenrezik, looking in Chenrezik's heart, and seeing the Hri the right way round, like you see it here on the screen, then you would see that the syllable Om, which is the white one in the front, is on the petal that's facing you. Or if you're inside Chenrezik, is the forward-facing petal. White Om, And then as we go round clockwise, there's a green ma, a yellow ni, a pale blue pe, a red me, and a deep blue hung. Now, what makes it easier is that this is happening inside ourselves at the same time. So in our own heart center, there is this six-petaled lotus of light, moon disk, syllable Hri, and in the petal that's facing in front of us, standing upright, is the white syllable Om, and it makes its own sound. Om. And as we go around, in the right front petal is a green syllable Ma. In the right rear petal, standing upright and facing inwards, is the yellow syllable Ni. In the rear petal, so the one towards our back, facing inwards, standing upright, is the pale blue syllable Pe. And then rear left, red Me, and then dark blue Hung, front left. So let's visit those briefly in the video. So they stay still, they stay in those positions. So we're just doing a fly around now so that you get the idea better. They don't move, we're moving now, we're in our mind's helicopter and we're flying round. Om, Ma, Ni, Pe, or Pat if you do the Sanskrit one. Me, Hum. Now we've flown all the way around and we're at the front. So the thing to learn is that they are each one there, upright. Facing inwards means that if you were in the Hri in the center, you'd see them all the right way around you. Okay, so in the third stage of the practice, then we are now doing Om Mani Padme Hum as we visualize in Chenrezik's heart center above us. So we feel in our own heart center what we just went through, the 6 syllables on their petals. We're learning to just for them to become totally familiar. Wonderful friends. Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. And you might want to help you learn to go very slowly as you see each one. Om In the next step, we are still very one-pointedly present in the Guru's heart center. And now, although the Om Mani Padme Hum Re is there, with those 6 colors and in their 6 places, now our mind returns to the white tree in the center. And our whole focus is on light shining brilliantly from that white tree. White light connecting perfectly, really and truly, with all of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And with our power of devotion getting deeper and deeper, our power of commitment, rock solid. They're our rock, they're our refuge, they're our source of every blessing of Chenrezik. And we feel such respect for them. They're our elders who went before. They hold every blessing of Chenrezik. And the Sri, in humility, in beauty, connects with them. So we think Sri, but we say Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani In the next step, I think we're up to number 5 now, then it's the same, but white light from the Guru's tree shines as healing, teaching, blessing to all the beings in the 6 realms. So whatever you know of the 6 realms and their sufferings and the nature of beings in those states, we experience humans and animals. So at least we can think of those. All the butterflies, the worms, the birds, the creeping, crawling, flying, whatever they are. And then all the humans in all their varieties, with all their sufferings. Then white light shines from the Guru Chenrezik's heart to each and every one of them, unconditionally, splendidly, perfectly. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Sorry to rush you. This shouldn't be rushed, but step 6. And this is a step that many people spend a lot of time with. It's a really very important part of the mantra visualization. It's with each of the syllables, now we make associations. We could have a whole session about the Bodhisattva path as it's taught in the Mahayana teachings, Bodhisattva teachings, the 10 levels, what happens in the 10 levels, what are the 80 Bodhisattva powers that are developed, and in particular, in the 80 Bodhisattva powers, we would look at 2 powers. One, in Tibetan, they're called, I don't know what they're called. Let's forget the Tibetan. I do know what they're called, but it's Dharani is one of them. It's another word for mantra. And courage is another one, courage. But you need the explanations. So what happens, very briefly, is that the bodhisattva power of Dharani, to use Dharani to accomplish a purpose, becomes a wonderful tool in Vajrayana teachings, where we use visualization and mantra and so on. Through the power of association and detailed association, a seed syllable comes in our mind to hold many properties. I'll give you a very simple example in everyday life, like what you get on poison bottles, skull and crossbones, right? Or one of these no entry signs, which means don't go there, right? You've seen it so many times. You don't need to think, if you see the skull and crossbones on a bottle, you immediately have a reaction. We will learn with the 6 syllables to associate many things. Each syllable relates to a realm, the mind poisons of that realm, the good qualities of that realm, the capacities of beings in that realm, how they can be helped with compassion, what their main obstacles are. And then each syllable is associated with one of the 6 paramitas, the good side of things, not the samsara side. And so on and so on. So as we do the syllable like Om for the Deva realm, and for pride inside us, and for our karma, which we carry, which would lead to rebirth in the Deva realms, we have so much to contemplate as we do Om Mani Padme Hum, concentrating on the white Om, that gradually all of that becomes embodied in the Om. And when we become a bodhisattva, you won't need to think this, think that, this paramita, that quality, that bit of the Deva realms. Your mind in samadhi goes into Om. And because of all your past associations and deep prayers of compassion, then natural, spontaneous compassion will well from you and help the Devas. Beyond thought, spontaneously. This is where we're going. When we say, I want to become Buddha, our help for beings needs to be spontaneous and not needing thought. So we achieve it through Dharani, and it means a lot of study, a lot of understanding, a lot of deep contemplation about the meaning of the 6 realms and how we associate them with the 6 syllables, which are our skillful means to liberation. So in your notes, you have a chart that will help you start these contemplations. So the white syllable Om on the front petal of your heart center, and gurus above us, is associated with the Deva realms and pride and the karma we carry to be reborn in the Deva realms. It helps the Devas. It helps you cure your pride, and it purifies away, washes away the karma you carry to be reborn in the Deva realms. Then it also brings you the blessing of the paramitas and so on. We need to study that. So that's the white Om. The green Ma on the right front petal in your heart center in Chenrezik is about the demigods and their sufferings of fighting, jealousy, defeat, how to help them. Chill out. Realize they've got such wonderful things going for them, and they can't enjoy what they've got because they want more. Doesn't it sound familiar? So also the green syllable Ma heals the jealousy inside us and this inability to be satisfied because we see other and we want more. And any karma we carry for jealous God rebirth is purified by saying Ma. and visualizing the green syllable, and so on. Ni, the yellow ni on the rear right petal, golden, yellow, brilliant, is associated with the human realm and the sufferings of birth, aging, sickness, and death, meeting what you don't want, not meeting what you do want, getting what you need, and keeping what you have. And it says, Kalu Rinpoche's own special comment on this when he taught it was, the big thing with us humans is desire and busyness. Why are we so busy? Because we feel we need a lot, we want a lot. And so our whole life is busy getting it, whatever it is, whether it's material, whether it's emotional, getting. Desire and busyness. And of course, from a Dharma point of view, desire and busyness come up the works of our Dharma practice. It's the way it is. So when we meditate on the golden knee, then it is compassionately helping all human beings with their sufferings, birth, aging, sickness, and death, and so on, and particularly helping them to be less busy and I'm just thinking of documentaries about one of the islands off Brittany in France. It's enough offshore, it's called Ouessant, and the people there sometimes take the ferry boat to land, which they call France. Even though they're part of France, they don't think of themselves as France. And they say, it's so strange over there. We go there and there are shops. And all of a sudden we feel like buying things. And then we get back home and realize, what was all that about? It was like a hypnosis we don't need. They said, normally we're so happy with what we've got here. It's only when they get the boat to France that they come back with a shopping bag full of stuff. So anyway, humans. Now this is interesting because part of the golden knee work is purifying the karma we carry to be reborn human. But wait a moment, don't we want to be reborn with a precious human existence? Okay, I'll leave you to sort this one out. Think about it, deep think, study. So we don't want to be reborn a dissatisfied, busy human, plunged into the suffering of birth, aging, sickness, and death, and all those other things. We want to be reborn a human whose life nurtures the bodhisattva opportunity and learns how to deal with birth, aging, sickness, and death, and not getting what you want and not getting what you don't want. They'll happen once you're human. Can't help it. Once you've got one of these things, body, they'll happen. But as a bodhisattva, you won't suffer. We don't want to be reborn a suffering human. We want to be reborn a bodhisattva human. So then we purify that, and our love and compassion, and our Guru's love and compassion goes out to all humans. This is very pertinent to us because here we're dealing with the realm we're born in just now. We need to do the other realms too, because you might be born in them next time round. You might be a butterfly. So it would be good if in this life you do compassion for butterflies. It might help. The pale blue pea on the rear petal compassionately helps the animal realm. All the different sorts of animals, from the tiny invisible mites and bugs up to the large animals, wild animals, domesticated animals, and so on and so on. We think very much of their suffering of being hunted and killed by each other, nature red in tooth and claw, their suffering of being out in the elements with nowhere to go in the winter and so on, and their suffering of being exploited and damaged by humans. There are many teachings on this. We need to study them. And the pale blue play sends love and guidance and help and support to them. It purifies the stupidity in us. The stupidity of living a human life as though we were animals. All that it's about is about nesting, mating, and feeding. That's what animals do. Birds prefer some sorts of worms to another. We prefer Chinese cuisine to Indian cuisine, and we spend years learning how to make a good job of it. But in the end, are we much better than the animals? We're just fussier. And nesting, some of them are super good at it. Others just find a convenient hole in the ground. Some nest in our own skin pores. They don't put a lot of work into it. We can spend a whole lifetime making a nest. It's very sophisticated. It may even be an eco-home these days. But basically, if our mind is totally invested in that, are we any different from a bird busily gathering twigs? And then mating, once you've got one of these things, it wants it. It's in the hormones, it's in your blood. And there are all these other things like this walking around that are attractive for as long as those drives last. And we can make a very sophisticated job of it. And of course, breeding and making children. And we can do that as only humans can do it if we do it very lovingly. It can be the most wonderful Dharma experience, of course. But all these things that the animals do, is that what our human life is about? What is the plus value of being human? And are we using it? So if we're not, then the word is stupid. Because we are just shooting ourselves in the foot. We are wasting precious seconds, minutes, every day, where our mind and our heart could be awakened. And where, in the true sense of Dharma, we can understand the rubbish which is inside us, the pain, the hurt, the damage. And we can be working on that skillfully, with intelligence, devotedly. There's no limit to how much your heart can open up in love, and mine, or how wise and clear our intelligence can be. So we become aware of what we mean by stupidity as we use the pale blue pei. The red mei is about the realm of ghosts and spirits, and in particular the deprived spirits who suffer more than we could ever imagine from hunger, from thirst, eating disorder, but so bad, and who just cannot get anything they'd want. And so, through the red mei, deep and profound love and help and guidance goes to the deprived spirits, and it also heals the greed, possessiveness, and so on inside us. And it shuts the door to future rebirth as a spirit. And then lastly, the dark blue hum is about anger, resent, frustration, all those aspects of the anger mind poison that we've studied in other courses, and the hell realms, hot hells, cold hells, disgusting hells, states where the mind is so wretched it has no respite ever. It's just like psychotic people in our world, but much, much worse. because it's total paranoid, horrible hallucinations. So our love and kindness of all the Buddhas goes out to them with the deep blue hung, and then it cures the anger and resent and frustration, rejection, the polarity of hostility and rejection which is in us. And it closes the door to rebirth in those realms. So I need to finish the 10 this time very quickly. There's so much work to do with the Om Mani Padme Hum, using their colors and their sound. Number 7 is we go back to the Chenrezik, the whole Chenrezik above us, the visuals, the image, the form, its meaning. And now as we do Om Mani Padme Hum, we try to deepen our understanding of form yet void. Very importantly, void yet form. No voidness all by itself. Part of our stupidity as Buddhists can be to think that there's voidness as something all in itself. There never is. It's voidness. Voidness of what manifests. It's voidness, not voidness. That's stupidity. But many Buddhists fall into the trap. Many. Sad. So now we're going to cure that with skillful means, where Chenrezik is there so perfect in form, yet none of it is tangible, solid, fixed. So we say, like a mirror image, where when you look in the mirror, good mirror, everything is so perfectly precise. And if you look in a mirror that's reflecting something moving, the moving image is all there, but then where? When you look in the mirror, where is it? What's in there? There's nothing in there. Somebody looking from a different place sees something else. There's not 1,000 million realities inside the mirror. It can only do that for all of us because it has nothing in it, yet it reflects. This is the mystery of mind. We'll come to that in the Mahamudra prayer next course. So whatever Mahamudra teachings you have about how voidness is form, form is voidness, then Chenrezik is our training ground. It's very easy. We know Chenrezik's just a sphere of light. We made it. We invited it in. Afterwards, when we come to post-meditation, we've got to carry this training into real life. Good luck. But anyway, in this step, void yet form. In step 8, we do the same thing with the mantra. In step 8, we listen to the mantra. So now you forget the visuals, you forget the feelings. Your only awareness is sound. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, or Om Mani Padme Hum Re. And this is this step is as a focus of shamatha. Sound is very dynamic, doesn't last. It's there, in the moment it's there, but you can't catch it. Om's gone, ma, and ma's gone, ma, Mani Padme Hum, but it's there. We use that as a focus. Now, this is excellent if you are in a shrine room and people are doing Chenrezik out loud, and it's like a swarm of bees with many different tonalities. It becomes like a cathedral of sound there, and we just have total one-pointed awareness. Our brain is not with the visual cortex or any of the other cortexes, just sound. Then step 9 is to move on from that. Once you have got once you're familiar with just being with sound in shamatha, then we need to be aware of the simultaneity of voidness and sound. That's step 9. Step 10, and you have this in your notes, all of these, is that we specifically use our Chenrezik to help those we know who are in need. So sometimes we have a friend who's physically unwell or mentally going through a tough time, or you see about or experience war, a disease, and so on. So when we think, how can I help beside material, then we specifically direct everything now. Everything is there. The form of Chenrezik, the sound of the mantra, the heart center, the Om Mani Padme Hum, everything is there, but sending light. And we really feel this light is helping. As in the Tonglen practice, when we breathe out the white light, here the white and the colored lights are bringing wisdom. What to do in this suffering, how best to handle it. And they're bringing a feeling of friendship and support, a feeling of relief and kindness, and you're not alone in what you're going through. All the things we have in Tonglen are radiating towards the person or the animal or the situation on which we are focusing. Okay. So sorry to rush you through that. If we'd have had more time, we could have done more Om Mani Padme Hums together. But I don't need to tell you what your homework is. You've got a lot to do before. No, I'm not sure where we are. If we come back, I think next week is Tonglen. Let me just check my calendar. Yeah. Next week, it is the monthly Tonglen group. So we come back to these teachings in 2 weeks' time, beginning of July. And so between now and then, please find online or in your books material about the 6 realms and do the practice that's been described today. And it might be helpful to watch this video again when it's online. So thank you very much. Let's dedicate what was good in the formal part of this teaching. Sonam diye tamche sikpani topnenye pedranam pamchene che ga nache palab krukpaye sipe sole drowa rasho janchup semcho rinpoche maje panam je jochik jepa nyampa me padang gongne kongdu dalwaresho Gewa diyin yododa Chenrezik Prokjone Jowo chikjang malupa te sala kaparasho